The biggest difference between panel lights and studio lights is the fact that with studio lights, we can attach bigger softboxes onto the light. The bigger the softbox, softer the fall off will be on the subject's face. These Aputure P60Cs come with softboxes and softbox grids to help soften the light being shot at your subject's face. Here are some comparisons when using Aputure's P60C panel light and Aputure's 100X studio light, both with softboxes. Both lights will be placed on the right side of the artist at a 45-degree angle. Starting with the Aputure 100X studio light with a softbox and grid. As you can see, we get a nice beautiful roll-off of contrast onto the opposite side of the face. This is due to the fact that the softbox is very large. Now moving over to the Aputure P60C panel light using a softbox and grid, the light is a little harsher and you can see more contrast fall off on the left side of the artist's face. This is because the softbox on the P60C panel light is a fraction of the size as the Aputure's 100X's light dome. Now when it comes to choosing what type of light to go with as a music videographer, you have to ask yourself what situations you currently and most commonly find yourself in when on music video sets. Are you finding yourself in tight spaces and filming run and gun videos? I would suggest that the Aputure P60C is the light for you, as it also has full RGB built into it, which, as we touched on in our RGB module, artists love colored lights in their videos. Not to mention, we own 3 Aputure Amaran P60Cs, and they can make for an awesome 3-point lighting setup when used correctly. If you're finding yourself in more controlled environments and don't think that having an RGB light is a make or break, and finding that your shot lists are very calculated and you are straying away from the run and gun style of music videos, the Aputure Amaran 100X is the best starting out studio light for you. It's affordable and gives you a really good idea of the quality of light Aputure offers. Not to mention, when you purchase a studio light or panel light and eventually upgrade to a higher output studio light such as the Aputure 300D or 600D, your Aputure 100X or P60C panel light can then become your fill light. If you buy a second Aputure 300D, then you can use your 300Ds as a key and fill light, and your 100X and P60C lights can become your dedicated backlight. If you buy a third high-powered studio light and maybe own 2 or 3 P60C panel lights, your higher powered Aputure lights can now become your key, fill, and backlight, and you can use your leftover P60C panel lights as lights to light up your environment or add depth in your image by using a daylight color on your key and fill, and use your panel lights as colored RGB lights in the background. This is a big reason why I always say that investing in the same brand of lighting ecosystem and just lighting in general becomes a long-term investment towards taking your lighting to a whole new level.